Well, the big story this morning, the much-hyped talks between US and Iran in Islamabad have collapsed. No agreement, no joint statement, no breakthrough. US Vice President J.D. Vance has confirmed, saying that the talks have ended without any deal. According to US, a final and the best offer was put on the table, but Iran chose not to accept the terms. The United States maintains that the red lines are there, especially on preventing Iran from acquiring the nuclear weapons. Listen in to what he said.
To the Prime Minister of Pakistan and to Field Marshal Munir, who were both incredible hosts. And whatever shortcomings in the negotiation, it wasn't because of the Pakistanis, who did an amazing job and really tried to help us and the Iranians bridge the gap and get to a deal. We have been at it now for 21 hours, and we've had a number of substantive discussions with the Iranians. That's the good news. The bad news is that we have not reached an agreement, and I think that's bad news for Iran much more than it's bad news for the United States of America. So we go back to the United States having not come to an agreement. We've made very clear what our red lines are, what things we're willing to accommodate them on, and what things we're not willing to accommodate them on. And we've made that as clear as we possibly could, and they have chosen not to accept our terms.
All right, so as far as the negotiation between the two countries are concerned, they have produced no deal at all. Let me take you through America's stand. They have said that they want unrestricted or reopening of the Strait of Hormuz. Iran side, remember, in the last few days has been saying that they want a full right, a full control over this key passage. Also, let's tell you more about the point of friction as well. End proxy support to Hezbollah. That has been America's stand and also Israel's stand. On that, Iran has said that they want a complete ceasefire that includes Lebanon as well. And that has been their demand ever since the ceasefire announcement was made by the United States. They want a dismantling of the key nuke sites, unfreezing of Iranian assets. They also, on that, Iranian side has said that they want full access to the frozen Iranian assets. So that has been the stand of the Iranian side as well. But in the last few hours, they were in fact meeting in Islamabad, but there has been no deal so far, no negotiation and no agreement as well. Islamabad, the talks have ended in a complete failure. There has been no breakthrough despite Pakistan's mediation efforts. After the collapse of negotiations between the US and Iran, Islamabad is now in damage control mode, urging both the sides to keep the ceasefire intact and continue the diplomatic engagement. Let me get you more perspective on this and go across to our consulting editor, Srinjoy Chaudhary. Good morning, Srinjoy. The much-hyped talks between US and Iran in Islamabad, they have collapsed. There has been no agreement, no joint statement, no breakthrough, and that is what US Vice President J.D. Vance has confirmed. Has any statement come in from Iran on this?
Well, Iran has said they are committed to diplomacy. But as far as Pakistan is concerned, when you try and fail, you still fail. That's the first thing. And here are the people who are responsible for Pahalgam, who are talking about peace. Secondly, as far as Iran and America are concerned, well, they have seem to have disagreed on virtually everything. On the nuclear issue, on the Lebanon issue, on the Hormuz issue, on virtually every issue. So what have they agreed on? That's the question when the Vice President was talking, he seemed to say that we had substantive talks and all that. So was there any agreement on anything? The least people would have expected were the following, that yes, we have many disagreements, but we have agreed to continue the ceasefire. That's one. And while we have disagreements, we have agreed to continue our discussions. Neither has happened. So now begins an area of uncertainty. What really is the next step? Who will take the next step, and what will it be?
Absolutely. It remains to be seen how this pans out in the coming days, whether there will be escalation or de-escalation. Stay on with us. We have across to Colonel Mahesh Ramachandran, defense expert, and also to Kamar Aga, foreign affairs expert. Thank you so much to both of you for joining us here on the broadcast. Coming to you, Colonel Mahesh Ramachandran first. How do you see what has happened in the last 12 hours? Because the world was looking at Islamabad for some sort of respite, because thousands have died in the last more than 1 month as far as the war is concerned. But there has been no deal, no agreement between both the sides. And Iran is saying that they are not in a hurry to make a deal with US. US on the other side is saying that they will give a final and a best offer to Iran to see whether they accept it or not in the coming days. How do you see this escalate or de-escalate in the coming days?
So, Akanksha, firstly, on 1st March, Srinjoy and I were on the Times Now, in the Times Now studio. 42 days down the line, nothing has changed. We are where we were.
All right.
And both of us had actually predicted that. That's the first point. Second point, what is going to happen if both the sides are going to take maximalist positions and inflexible positions, then there is going to be no solution. But however, if you've seen the history of warfare over a period of time, ultimately the solution is through talks. So what could possibly happen? I mean, here is my take on what could possibly happen. One is, you could probably go back to the 2015 agreement, which was, signed during the Obama time, where they said that they would agree to pause their nuclear development program. Iran said that. However, there was no talk on, they were allowed to continue with their ballistic missile program. When 2016, when Donald Trump came in, he scrapped that. He said nothing doing, and he imposed some severe sanctions. So maybe you could get back to that 2015 position is one way out of this mess right now. Other thing could be if you want concessions on the Hormuz, naval blockade is not going to work. I'm very sure. Without any securing the Kharg Island, etc., the naval blockade will never work. So maybe they would probably agree to, okay, you unfree some of our assets, and we will give you some concessions on the Hormuz, because Hormuz is a big leverage that Iran has. They're not going to let go of that easily. And the third thing, of course, which might signal an early end to this conflict, is the entry of China, which we're seeing. We're hearing about China already supplying arms to Iran through a third company. And if China and Russia also come in, then that is going to be, that's probably maybe good, may augur well for peace. And the last point that I want to make here is that, Iran will learn, any country that is in conflict with America would have learned its lesson from Ukraine, who gave up their nuclear weapons program, and they are in this mess because of that. So I don't think they're going to give up their nuclear weapons development program.
Absolutely, and that is one point of friction as well, giving up nuclear weapons and also the Strait of Hormuz. But we will come back to that. Once again, we have a breaking update coming in. We're learning that Israeli airstrikes in southern Lebanon, and that continues, because remember, Israel is fighting the war on two fronts, one with Iran and another one with Lebanon. But Lebanon has emerged as a sticking point, because Iran has said that it should be made a plan of the ceasefire agreement. Israel and US have said that it is not part of it. But as of now, we're learning that Israeli airstrikes continue in southern Lebanon on the residential homes there in the town of Qana in southern Lebanon. According to the reports, 5 Lebanese citizens were martyred and several others were injured in this airstrike on this crucial town there. Lebanese sources have also reported that attack on the town of in the southern Lebanon, adding that 13 people were martyred in this attack. So the situation remains quite volatile. Remains to be seen whether there is escalation on other fronts as well. Let me go across to Kamar Aga, foreign affairs expert. Thank you so much, sir, for connecting with us. How do you look at this entire situation? Because we are seeing escalation as far as Israel and Lebanon are concerned. Now that there has been no deal between US and Iran, do you think there is going to be escalation in the coming days? Because through a social media post, Donald Trump has sent out this hint that in the coming days there could be a naval blockade as well. So do you see escalation in the coming days?
I don't think, because President Trump has given such statements before also.
All right.
He wanted to, to kill the entire nation. He wanted to destroy the whole civilization. He wanted to push Iran into Stone Age. So all these statements came, Yes, problem is there. I'm not saying the problem is not yet solved. There are two issues, a sticking point. One is Lebanon and the other is Gulf, Strait of Hormuz. As far as Lebanon is concerned, Iran believes it's a part of a peace deal. And earlier, President Trump had agreed, Lebanon ceasefire would be in Lebanon as well. But later, he backtracked. Lebanon is a very important for Iranians because Iran cannot abandon Hezbollah. Hezbollah is a very trusted ally of Iran, and therefore, they are putting pressure on America. How much, pressure will work with time, we'll get to know. But as far as Gulf of Strait of Hormuz is concerned, I think will take some time to negotiate. War has no solution, Even if they send 50,000 troops, to clear the mines or to take control over the Strait of Hormuz, that's not possible, because large number of Americans would die in this process. And secondly, American army is also not prepared to go for a long drawn battle at the moment, and that's
Absolutely,
why
and that remains a key friction point between the two countries. Donald Trump has said that he wants Iran to reopen the Strait of Hormuz, but has also shown concern over the mines that have been laid out in that key waterway. I'll come back to you once again. Let me take our viewers to what has gone wrong as far as the truce talks are concerned. They have failed, but the bigger question is what actually went wrong. Number one reason could be that there has been no agreement on the core demands. We told you, Strait of Hormuz, nuclear enrichment, those remain the key issues there. It appears there has been no agreement on these two demands. Reason number two, let's take you through that. Iran has rejected U.S. terms, something that J.D. Vance has also stated in the statement that he has given to media. A nuclear enrichment deadlock that continues. U.S. wants Iran to stop enrichment of uranium. That is something that they have objected to. Sanctions and the asset standoff that has been going on in the last 24 hours. Ceasefire conditions are unresolved. So in crux, the demands are, in fact, they have been put forth, but the ceasefire remains unresolved right now. But there's still that 1 week of ceasefire window that still remains. Srinjoy, there's few more days to go, 7 to 8 more days to go before the ceasefire. In fact, that ends. So is there a possibility that there could be some respite, some talks between US and Iran in the coming days? Both the sides have made it quite clear that the ball is in the court, as Iran has said, of Donald Trump. Donald Trump has said it is in the court of Iran. They will be putting out their best and better offer. It remains to be seen whether Iran accepts it or not. What could be expected in the coming days?
First of all, you have a week. That is your window. So that's the first thing that has to be looked at. Then secondly, if you are going to go in for negotiations, just flying in and having a chat for 3 or 4 hours probably won't be the best way to do it. When you haven't dealt with a country since the Shah was in power, that was in 1978, you have to have long-drawn negotiations. So that is one option. You have to look at things properly. Now, how this is going to go, we don't know, because with the president, you cannot tell, because he has said different things at different times on the same subject. So that's the first thing. The first issue is there has to be intent. Both sides should be keen on peace, and they shouldn't just talk about it, but they should suggest that they are keen on peace. Secondly, the issues, the positions are so different from each other. One, Lebanon, they have completely different points of view. The Hormuz, different points of view. Nuclear issues, different points of view. And yes, the colonel is right. Every country that has given up nuclear weapons, actually South Africa apart, learns a lesson. Libya is one. and Ukraine is the other. The worry is not when a country has nuclear weapons or has no plan to have a nuclear weapon. The worry is for a country when it's in between. Iran is the best example of that. When you have nuclear weapons like the Koreans, North Koreans, you're in the clear. No one's going to do anything with you, particularly if you have delivery systems, as the North Koreans have.
All right.
If you have no nuclear weapons, you have no wish to have nuclear weapons, you're in the clear. But if you are halfway to it, to a bomb, then you face the consequences of that in the way the Iranians are facing. Remember Libya? That is exactly the same thing. Ukraine chose to give up its 3,000 or whatever weapons they had at that time, because it was once part of the Soviet Union. The Soviet Union had placed their weapons in Ukraine, and Ukraine said, well, we are giving it back. And it's been fighting a war for 4 years and a bit.
Right.
So how this is going to proceed depends on two things. The first step that the Americans take, which is their offer. And the next step, next point, is how the Iranians see that.
Absolutely, because
now, is there a possibility?
The United States has said that they will be having a better offer in the coming days, so it remains to be seen whether Iran accepts that or not. I'll come back to you once again, Srinjoy. Let's tell our viewers more about the Strait of Hormuz. Remember, that is another key sticking point. The United States has started clearing the Strait of Hormuz, is what we are learning, launching a new mission to reopen the vital oil corridor. We're learning that US Central Command has said that 2 guided missile destroyers, USS Frank E. Peterson and USS Michael Murphy, they have transited the Strait of Hormuz as a part of the operation to establish a safe passage through the water that are believed to be mined, and that is what United States has said, that they want Iran to reopen the Strait of Hormuz, but also saying that Iran has mined the waters and they want to clear it, and that is why they have sent 2 of their warships there, USS Frank E. Peterson, as we told you, and another one, USS Michael Murphy, DDJ-112. So this is a key area that is currently blocked by Iran, is what United States has been saying, and they're saying they wanted to reopen, but the mines have been laid in there. So this is as far as the Strait of Hormuz is concerned. U.S. mine clearance has been initiated just some time back, and it remains to be seen how Iran retaliates to this. Mission is being led by US Central Command. As we told you, a statement has also been put out. 2 of the US destroyer transited the Strait of Hormuz just a while back. But there could be a retaliation by Iran as well, and that is something that the experts have also hinted towards. Underwater drones to join the mission. They will be destroying the mines that US has said has been laid by United States in that key waterway. But many experts are saying that there could be retaliation as well. So it remains to be seen whether that happens or not. I want to bring in Colonel Mahesh Ramachandran on that. Sir, how do you look at this? Because that remains a key friction point. US wants Strait of Hormuz to be reopened. They're saying that mines have been laid there. Iran, on the other hand, is saying they want total control over this key waterway. But now the mine clearing operation is currently underway. Do you think there could be a retaliation by Iran as far as this is concerned? Because this, as they claim, comes in their territory.
It is not a question of whether they will retaliate. It's just when they will retaliate. And retaliate they will for sure. Because, you know, that is the biggest leverage, the Hormuz, the biggest leverage that Iran has. And I'm sure they are not going to, they'll definitely be flexing their muscles on this. And the Americans are not going to find it easy to secure the stretch. So whether the mine clearing operations have actually begun, I think let's wait for some more input. But there's one point that I wanted to make. And it is just taking forward what Srinjoy was saying, and it may sound very strange, even perverse. One way of ensuring lasting peace is let Israel develop their nuclear weapon, let Iran develop their nuclear weapons. They are safe. So all these people making these claims that we are going to dead to Israel and we are going to push them into the sea and things like that will not disappear. So honestly, it may sound perverse, but it's probably one way out. As far as the Hormuz is concerned, Iran is not going to give up its sovereignty over the Strait of Hormuz. That's my take.
All right, so it remains to be seen how that really pans out in the coming days. I'll come back to you once again. We have a breaking update coming in, a statement that is coming from Israeli Prime Minister. He has vowed that Israel's campaign against Iran will continue as long as necessary, also stressing that the strikes on Iranian targets and the allied forces will not stop in the coming days. He's talking about Lebanon here as well, and the allied forces, those are Hezbollah, and the attacks, as we also told you, continues. That has also that has remained as a friction point between Israel and Iran, because ever since the ceasefire announcement was made, Iran made it clear that Lebanon, Hezbollah, was part of the ceasefire plan. That is something that Israel and US objected to. Now, a statement that is coming from Israeli Prime Minister saying that Israel's campaign against Iran will continue as long as necessary. Listen in.
המערכה טרם הסתיימה, אבל כבר עכשיו אפשר לקבוע בבירור. יש לנו הישגים היסטוריים. אני רוצה לזכור איפה היינו. איראן ניסתה ללפות אותנו בטבעת חנק. החמאס בעזה, חיזבאללה בלבנון, משטר אסד בסוריה, המיליציות בעיראק, החות'ים בתימן, איראן עצמה. זאת אומרת, הם רצו לחנוק אותנו, ואנחנו חונקים אותם. הם איימו עלינו בהשמדה, והם עכשיו נלחמים לשרוד. אנחנו הכינו בהם, יש לנו עוד מה לעשות. אנחנו היינו הראשונים ששברו את מחסום הפחד. הפחד לפעול באיראן עצמה. ואני זוכר את התחושה שלי. איזו התרגשות, איזו גאווה, צמרמורת. ואני יודע שגם אתם חוויתם כולכם את זה.
All right, so that's the statement coming in from Israeli Prime Minister. He has said that Israel's campaign against Iran will continue as long as necessary. Also saying that the attacks on Iranian targets and the allied forces, alluding to Hezbollah in Lebanon here, will not stop. And very important to point out here that Israel is fighting the war on two fronts, one with Iran and another one with Lebanon. And in the latest, we're learning that ever since the peace talks have halted there as far as Islamabad is concerned, the attacks on southern Lebanon have increased. All right, so that's the latest we're learning as far as Israeli Prime Minister is concerned. He has said that Israel's campaign against Iran will continue. We have another breaking